and welcome back to the studio. Today is our second lesson of the Learning How to Play Piano series. So this is a series I have started that is going to help you learn all the basics you need to start reading sheet music. And we will be following along with this book. This is the Alfred's Adult All-in-One Piano Course Level 1. You do not have to have this book to follow along with these lessons. You can totally get your own material, your own book, and follow along. But this is the book. I'm kind of going to be going in the order as they introduce these things in the book. And I will also be giving you the pages that you can reference for each video. If you have not already watched our first lesson, I highly recommend you go back and watch that before this one, because in that video we talked about letter names on the piano, how to find the notes on the staff, and our different note values. Today we are going to be going over the grand staff. So we've already talked about the treble staff and the bass staff. Now we're going to talk about how we put them together to make the grand staff. So this is what our grand staff looks like, and you will notice there's a lot of different things going on here. We're going to break it all down so you can understand everything that is on here and what they mean. The first thing we're going to note is that we have the treble staff on the top, bass staff on the bottom. As we talked about in the last video, the bass notes are going to be lower on the piano, the treble notes are going to be higher on the piano. Right hand will use the top, left hand will use the bottom. Now, this funny little thing over here, we have two numbers stacked on top of each other, and you may be wondering what in the world this tells us. This is called your time signature, and this one in specific is the 4/4 time signature. Pretty simple because it's two 4s stacked on top of each other. It's the 4/4 time signature. So what does this tell us? Well, the 4 on the top tells us that we get 4 beats in every measure. Remember we talked about in our last lesson, the whole note gets 4 beats, quarter note gets 1 beat, half note gets 2. This is telling us how many beats we're going to have total in every measure. Now, what is a measure? So measures are how the music is divided up. So these are divided by what we call bar lines, and these are the vertical lines separating these little boxes basically in our music, and that is where the notes go. The reason it's separated is because it's going to help you with counting. It's helpful if you need to spot one particular section. Somebody can say, go back to measure 10, go back to measure 20. It's easier than counting all the notes up to one section. And every measure is going to have the same number of beats in that measure. Don't get your beats confused with your notes. Beats is how many counts. So we could have one note that gets 4 counts. We could have 4 different notes that each get 1 count, but that still adds up to 4 beats. So remember, we can have any amount of notes in a measure, but we will always have the same number of beats in every measure, unless the time signature changes. So you will notice at the end of your song, you're going to have one of two things. You're either going to have a double bar line, which looks like a thin line and a thick line. This tells us to stop, it's the end of the song. Or you will have a repeat sign. So a repeat sign looks like a double bar line, but with 2 dots in front of it. And what this is telling us is to go back and repeat the song from the beginning. That is pretty much everything we're going to see as far as the grand staff that we're going over today. So hopefully you're starting to understand all those little different things and why they're there. One more thing I want to go over before the end of this lesson is rests. So this is our quarter rest, same value as a quarter note. It gets 1 beat, but it's just silence for 1 beat. So you don't play anything, just pause for that 1 beat and then go back to playing. The next one is our half rest, same value as a half note. We're going to rest for 2 beats. This one is the whole rest, and same as the whole note, it just gets 4 beats, but these are 4 beats of silence. Okay, that is all for lesson 2. We've gone over pretty much everything you need to know to start playing on the grand staff. And this will be pages 20 to 23 if you are following along in the book with us. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so already. And I hope you have found this lesson helpful and informative, and I will see you hopefully very soon.